a 7-month lifeline for Reliance Communication. The company's lenders have put its account in strategic debt restructuring and have given it time till December to shape up. So Anil Ambani's company has 7 months to complete the tower business sale and its merger with Aircel, which will hopefully bring down its 45,000 crore rupee debt by more than half. Addressing a marathon press conference, the first in 10 years, Anil Ambani said he is even ready to sell a stake in the merged entity, that is the merger of Reliance Communication and Aircel, that merged entity, if necessary, to pay debt. Ambani also added that the merger with Aircel will bring in new synergies worth 20,000 crore rupees over the next 10 years. He has promised to sell Reliance Communication subsidiary Global Cloud Exchange again, if necessary, to pay debt. And finally, it was revealed that the merged entity of Reliance Communication and Aircel will be called Aircom. Before we bring our in-house team on this story, here are the key highlights from Anil Ambani's press briefing.
The lenders have constituted a joint forum, which is referred as the Joint Lenders Forum. Reliance Communications, the company, under the provisions, will receive a standstill on servicing debt obligations for a period of 7 months, that is till December of 2017. It is only right for the lenders to keep all their options open, that at the end of that December period, correct, that they have the option to do whatever form of restructuring that they would like to do. But in the end, after that, what will happen? They'll have to look for a new buyer, which we've already been through. They would like to dispose of the tower assets, which we've already done. So, and why we are talking about 30th September is, on the other side, we've got till December. So we've already built in the comfort factor of that 3 months in terms of, any delays, any vagaries of courts, X, Y, Z. And it's usually the system delays that occur. There is no unlimited time and there's no unlimited deadline. So the provisions of various restructuring schemes as published by RBI naturally are open to be exercised after the standstill period is over. So there should be no surprises for that at all.
Well, highlights there from Anil Ambani, joining us now to dissect everything that has come in from that press conference, which lasted over 2 hours. On the way forward, Latha Venkatesh, Ritu Singh and Nisha Podar, who've been covering that meeting, and also Kritika. Latha, let me come to you first. The Reliance Communication stock has been under tremendous pressure for the last few days. There have been many downgrades by brokerages. Banking sources say that the trigger seems to have been the company defaulting on a 196 crore rupee loan. Is that right?
Yes, that's what they told me. That's the last straw on the camel's back, as it were. And it was a loan overdue by about 5 or 6 days. And that led Credit Agricole to tell the trust, and the trusts had to tell the rating agencies, and that led to a series of downgrades. But what it also indicates is the building financial crunch and the inability to pay and the need to postpone. And that's why, the chances of that loan, of that entity not being able to service the loans to the banks as well, and therefore turning NPA. Then the lenders found that the two big deals on which they were banking, the sale of towers to Brookfield as well as merging Relcom with Arcom, or at least part of Relcom with Arcom, would also fall under, because the lenders, Brookfield and the other parties clearly said that they will not have this deal with a company that has impaired assets, or is an NPA in our jargon. And that's what triggered immediate action to ensure a standstill, put in an SDR, which allows both the lenders not to classify it as an NPA and the borrower to bring his house in order. As well, the key point to note is that the cash from Brookfields comes only after June 28th. June 28th is the date on which the NCLT hears the Brookfield sale case, and thereafter the cash will flow, and hence the need to give that much time.
All right. Thanks very much for filling us in on the inside story, Lata. But Nisha, coming to you, Anil Ambani has painted a dismal picture of the industry. He said it's not just an Arcon problem. The entire industry is facing a crisis. In fact, the word that he used was a tsunami, if I remember correctly. Take us through what the key demands are now from the government.
That's right, Shireen. It's an industry-wide problem, and he painted a grim picture around that, and therefore the amount of consolidation that we are seeing in the sector as well. So the submission to the government for some policy interventions have been really laid down by Anil Ambani today in that press conference. First, DOT levies should have a moratorium of 3 years. That will give some breather to these telecom companies. Spectrum-related deferred payment obligations can also have a moratorium of 3 years. Then the interest on DOT spectrum payment to be calculated SBI's base rate. Now, he raised two very important points. One, capitalization of spectrum. So the payment and the repayment to the government could be spanning over the lifetime of the spectrum usage, that is 20 years. That will give a lot of breather, because as revenues get generated, the telecom companies can repay the government. The second thing that he raised is very important, the perpetuity of these spectrum, so that there is uncertainty in the mind, that there is no uncertainty and risk in the minds of the telecom companies, the shareholders, investors, and even the subscribers, whether they'll have that spectrum after 20 years period. And of course, service tax coming down. They've proposed under GST it should be about 12%, and also there should be a moratorium. So all these proposals to the government, so that the telecom sector on the whole breathes a sigh of relief.
I think that the new paradigm for the sector at the 5 or 6 operators that will hopefully remain is going to be the 3 C's. It is going to be compete, it is going to be collaborate, and it is going to be cooperate. So no longer are people going to say, these are my towers, I'm not going to give it to you. This is my fiber, I'm not giving it to you. This is my radio network, I'm not sharing with you. I think that the transformation that is the industry is going to do to be capital light, to get capital productivity, to ensure that they get to some ROEs which are not there today, to start becoming free cash flow positive, is to follow the strategy going forward to saying it's sharing and caring in that sense.
Well, that's Anil Ambani and the ask from the government. But let me go back to Ritu now. And Ritu, several questions, including several from you, about the future as far as Jio and Reliance Communication was concerned. What was the sense that you got from what Mr. Ambani had to say?
You know, to begin with, speculation has been strife about Reliance Jio having a larger player when we are talking about strategic debt restructuring, and that involves a change in promotership. So, you know, if that were to happen when the deadline ends, there was speculation if Reliance Jio could perhaps more than just be a strategic partner. But Mr. Anil Ambani did clarify Reliance Jio and Reliance Communication are two separate entities, and there's no desire per se for both to merge. In fact, he did clarify there is a good partnership between the two companies. There's infrastructure sharing, spectrum sharing, tower sharing, but beyond that there is no desire to merge. But on a lighter vein, of course, he himself came up with you know, this point where he raised, media is always speculating about his relationship with his brother. 3 words he put in. One was that his relationship with his brother is full of respect. He said it is meaningful and it is very cordial at this point of time. So very clearly, you know, not really taking any pot shots at his brother, even though at several times in the press conference questions were raised about Reliance Jio's tactics, you know, to gain consumer share, to gain market share, their, you know, pricing, which itself has really been a disruptor in the market. But at no point of time did Anil Ambani retort to that, saying that that was undesirable.
I can only tell you, since you linger with those thoughts, they are the most cordial, meaningful, and full of respect. So any speculation from your side is completely unnecessary and uncalled for, and you better put a skull and 2 bones on that thought.
Well, that's a marathon there from Anil Ambani speaking for the first time to the media in 10 years. Sum and substance, 7 months. That's the window that bankers have given them a standstill for Reliance Communication to get its act together when it comes to debt restructuring. Lata, Ritu, Nisha, appreciate you joining us with those details.